Hi, I'm Tricia, and I'll be reading you this week's The Barnstable Patriot, dated Friday, September 6th. And our leadoff article is an article from Eric Williams, Curious Cape Cod, Long Nooks Eroding Cliffs. It's been a lonely summer at Long Nook Beach in Truro. Access to the spectacular Atlantic-facing strand has been closed all season due to concerns about the stability of the surrounding sand bluffs. The parking lot is blocked off, and a sign on Route 6 lets folks know that it's a no-go zone. In mid-July, the town announced it was consulting with the Center for Coastal Studies and the Woodhole Group regarding the access situation at the beach. The Center for Coastal Studies is providing data from a series of drone surveys of the area. Based on the data, the Woodhole Group will come up with design alternatives for repairing access according to the town. I'm a Nostradamus, but I would guess this means it could be a while before access is reopened at Long Nook. Understandably, caution seems to be the watchword here, and there is a very scary precedent. In 1973, a cliff collapse at Long Nook Beach claimed the life of an 11-year-old boy. But I sure have missed that beach. It's one of my all-time faves on the Cape, especially in the off-season. It's remote and wildly beautiful, a great place to goof off and drink coffee while you're supposed to be working. So I decided to skip the troublesome access point and safely visit the beach from below. At least I could reassure Long Nook that folks were thinking about it and say, "Hope to see you next summer." The big question was how to get there. The cliffs get pretty high along the stretch of coast, and there aren't a whole lot of easy ways to get down to the sea. And without a beach sticker, I couldn't park at nearby Barnstable Beach, although after Labor Day it's free and easy. Then I remembered the Cape Cod National Seashore's Pamet area trails at the end of North Pamet Road. The trail system offers a splendid vista of the ocean from the top of Bearberry Hill, and a side trail spills out onto the sand north of Barnstable Beach. It looked like a 3-mile round trip to get up to Long Nook and back, with a fair amount of soft sand walking. With the route calculated, I put down my sextant and whistled for the curious Prius. We meandered through the green-gold glow of late August and came to rest in the little parking area at 111 North Pamet Road. The place was bumping with hikers and beachgoers grabbing the last gusto of summer. After a half-mile of forest hiking, I popped out onto the great back shore and headed north, a lone goofball framed by giant cliffs and the forever ocean. Eventually, I spied a split rail fence suspended on the face of the cliff. This was the only clue that I was approaching the Long Nook Beach access point. The beach was deserted, and the traditional summer volleyball net was gone. Then, 2 people appeared at the beach entrance and walked down the steep slope to the beach. That's when I noticed there was a semblance of a path leading down from the fence, making me think that there had been some beach seeking going on at Long Nook. I took a long look at the cliff and dunes around the entrance to the beach. It was a bit of an overhang in places, and a lot of good-sized rocks suspended in the sand near the top. It almost seemed like the biggest danger could come from placing your beach blanket near the base of the cliffs, where an unforeseen collapse could have dire consequences. Realizing that I was no match for erosion, geological processes, or public safety decisions, I just sat down on Long Nook Beach and enjoyed the view. It might be a while before I get back there. And Eric Williams writes about a variety of ways to enjoy the Cape, the weather, the wildlife, and other subjects. And you can contact him at ewilliams@capecodonline.com. And next up on the front page of the Barnstable Patriot, Cape groups to blitz build Habitat House in Dennis. Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod and the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Cape Cod will team up to construct over 5 days a new affordable home. From September 23rd to the 27th, a team of professionals is expected to complete a blitz build for a 3-bedroom Cape home on Jack Delaney Lane in Dennis. The home will be one of 4 affordable homes constructed on the street. Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod bought the land with Dennis Community Preservation Act funds. Every 2 years, the trade association comes together to build a house with hundreds of its members and associates donating materials, supplies, and labor so that the home can be purchased by a local family with an affordable mortgage. We are grateful that the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Cape Cod continues to enthusiastically embrace the challenge of fully funding and building a Habitat Cape Cod home in just 5 days. Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod CEO Wendy Cullinan said in a statement. Aside from the opportunity it offers to the local family purchasing the home, the Blitz home builds awareness of the tremendous affordable housing need here on Cape Cod. In a statement, April Ducott, president of Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Cape Cod, said the project showcases the incredible unity and dedication within our community. Together, we're building more than just homes. We're building hope for a brighter future, said Ducott. And we move on to Osterville resident receives 2024 Woman of Impact Award. Maureen Wilkins has left a mark on Cape Cod and the islands. For decades, she and her husband, Frank Jr., were serial philanthropists who donated generously to Cape Cod Healthcare Foundation, Cape Cod Community College, the Cape and Islands United Way, Housing Assistance Corporation, Salvation Army, and Osterville Library, according to a United Way press release. Since Frank's death in 2011, Maureen has continued the legacy. This year, she has been named the 2024 Woman of Impact by the Cape and Islands United Way. The award is given annually at an event called Power of the Purse. The award recognizes women who have done extraordinary work for people in their communities. Since 1991, when the Wilkinses retired to Osterville, they have shared their good fortunes with the wider Cape community. They donated millions of dollars to charities across the region, from the Cape Cod Hospital Health Care Foundation to Osterville Free Library, Cape Cod Community College to Salvation Army. The couple has shared their wealth to make the lives of fellow Cape Cod residents better. By 2022, the Wilkinses have donated $11.2 million to Cape Cod Community College. They created an endowment fund for nursing program faculty with a $500,000 donation and gave $5 million to build the Frank and Maureen Wilkins Science and Engineering Center. They donated millions to Cape Cod Healthcare Foundation over the years. The hospital's outpatient medical complex carries their name. Maureen continued to donate generously after Frank's death. She established the Maureen Murphy Wilkins School of Nursing and Clinical Sciences at Emmanuel College, where she studied nursing. She is amazing, said United Way Cape and Islands President and CEO Mark Scala. She and her husband have left an indelible mark on philanthropy on the Cape. Scala said Wilkins almost didn't want to accept the award. She's very unassuming, he said. We felt strongly that there was no one else we wanted to honor this year. Previous Women of Impact recipients include Doreen Bilizikian, co-founder of the Christmas Tree Shops, Dorothy Savarese, retired chairman and CEO of Cape Cod 5, Trish Kennedy, entrepreneur and philanthropist, and Jen Vila, co-owner of the West End and co-founder of the nonprofit Love, Live, Local. The Women of Impact Award is given annually at an event called Power of the Purse. This year's event will be held on October 16th at the Hyannis Port Club and hosted by the Women United, a partner of the United Way. Tickets and sponsorships are available at www.capeandislandsuw.org. And our final article on the front page of the Barnstable Patriot, Community College Enrollment Surges with Free Degrees on Offer. If you've never gotten a college degree, Cape Cod Community College in West Barnstable is now literally giving them away for free as long as you study and earn it. Governor Maura Healey on July 29th signed into law the $57.78 billion fiscal 2025 state budget, which in part establishes the Mass Educate program, a new initiative that makes every community college in the state free for anyone who has never earned a degree. The state budget allocates $93.5 million to fund the program. The program, to earn a certificate or up to 2 associate degrees, will pay all your tuition and fees and provide a stipend for books and supplies for some students. New free opportunities for a college education at community colleges in Massachusetts, including the new Mass Educate program and the Mass Reconnect program from 2023, have had a seismic effect, said Cape Cod Community College Director of Strategic Communications and Marketing, Patrick Stone. The interest since its launch a few weeks ago has been unprecedented, Stone said of the Mass Educate program. The school's admissions team has been answering phone calls and meeting with students non-stop, with more than 3,000 applications already processed for the fall, he said. The fall enrollment for the West Barnstable College is expected to be around 3,500, said College Admissions Director Sheila Vaughn. That includes the 1,500 new students, Vaughn said. It's uncharted territory. Here's what you need to know. How do I apply? Applications for Mass Educate for the fall semester at the West Barnstable College are now closed due to the high volume, but you can apply starting September 16th for the next semester. To apply, you need to fill out a free application to the school and a free financial aid form. Find information about how to apply and visit capecod.edu/free or call or text 774-330-4311. Who is eligible for the Mass Educate program? Anyone without a prior bachelor's degree is eligible for the program and can earn a certificate or up to 2 associate degrees. All 15 community colleges statewide, including Cape Cod Community College, are participating. There are no limits on a student's age or income level. Wasn't community college already free? No. Massachusetts has had a program since 2023 called Mass Reconnect, which extends free community college tuition to those 25 or older without a degree. This new program, which builds off that one, removes the age limit and makes free community college open to students right out of high school. Are there any other benefits to Mass Educate? The program provides an allowance of up to $1,200 per academic year toward books, supplies, and other expenses based on household income. Mass Reconnect also has a stipend for supplies up to $600 with no review of household income. Do people actually take advantage of this program? Last year, after Mass Reconnect launched, Cape Cod Community College saw a surge in enrollment, Stone said. The school saw a 13% enrollment jump in the fall of 2023 compared to the previous year. That momentum carried into the spring of 2024 with a massive 33% enrollment jump compared to the previous year, he said. The program was quite literally life-changing for so many students. With the barrier of cost removed, we saw hundreds of students arrive at our doors that otherwise wouldn't have been able to make it work, Stone said. For the Cape specifically, with the free tuition, high school graduates are choosing to attend community college for the first 2 years of undergraduate training, Vaughn said. Also, older students who want to change careers are applying, and people who hadn't thought they could attend college at all due to the costs, she said. It's a whole new world, Vaughn said. I think it's going to change the landscape for Cape Cod. And now moving into the paper, page 2, YouTuber uses Bourne Rotary as camping site. The Bourne Rotary serves as a landmark of the Cape, known for its trimmed hedges that spell out Cape Cod and its post-bridge traffic. However, for one YouTuber, the Bourne Rotary is much more than an iconic traffic circle. It was home for the night. Wes Wherever, a thrill seeker and daredevil, posts videos about his outdoor adventures in unexpected places throughout the country. For the past few months, Wes has been documenting a cross-country camper van trip with his mom and her dog, starting in Pennsylvania and working his way up the East Coast, gaining 30,000 subscribers along the way. In each state, Wes has uploaded videos of himself stealth camping, also known as free camping or boondocking, at various unconventional camping sites, and the Bourne Rotary was one of his most recent locations. Throughout his journey, Wes has camped everywhere from an abandoned island mansion in New Jersey to an old highway tunnel in Pennsylvania. However, Wes knew he wanted to try a rotary, which he calls a roundabout, and he was determined to find the perfect one. Wes and his mom planned to drive through Cape Cod from the beginning of their journey, and when they reached the Bourne Rotary 3 weeks ago, Wes knew he had found the right spot. Because of the heavy traffic and state troopers around the Rotary, Wes waited until nighttime to cross the road to the Rotary's center island. Once he settled into his spot for the night, Wes treated himself to a New England lobster roll and Cajun fries. The overnight camp was a success. Wes was not removed from the Rotary, and he even slept peacefully. Wes's only complaint was the pine sap covering his gear and clothing, but that was nothing an authentic Massachusetts breakfast from Dunkin' Donuts couldn't fix. And now on to political news. 3 competing in Republican U.S. Senate primary. It's a 3-way race for the Republican nomination to challenge Democratic U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren on the November ballot. Medford engineer Robert Antonellis, Quincy businessman and entrepreneur Ian Kane, and John Deaton of Bolton, an attorney and veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, are competing in the primary election September 3rd for the right to face Warren, who is seeking her 3rd term in the Senate. Warren does not have a primary challenger. Robert Antonellis. "I like to fix things," Antonellis said, as a way of explaining his bid for election, describing Washington as broken. He mentioned fixing the border crisis, crime, the smuggling of fentanyl into the U.S. from China via Mexico, and rising costs. Crime statistics released by the FBI and the Bureau of Justice Statistics both show dramatic declines in U.S. violent and property crime rates since the early 1990s, when crime spiked across much of the nation, according to an analysis of the date conducted by the Pew Research Center. The 62-year-old software engineer claims to be the only true Republican in the race this fall. He says he will push a Massachusetts First agenda in the Senate, because that's what we care about, the state we live in, said Antonellis, who has lived in Massachusetts for most of his life and is an alum of the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. On social issues, he stands with former President Donald Trump applauding the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade and allowed each state to set their own abortion laws. "I am pro-womanhood, pro-life, and anti-abortion," Antonellis said. He also says he opposes transgender men competing against women in sports. At the top of his agenda, addressing the state's migrant crisis by ending sanctuary communities. Antonellis is concerned with the huge investment Massachusetts has made in sheltering and feeding the thousands of families that have ended up in the Bay State and wants to stop the flow of cash into the system. "We, as a state, are going broke with the lavish benefits given to migrants," Antonellis said, citing the $1 billion already spent by Massachusetts and the extension of housing, health care, and job training to newcomers. "This is money spent on people who should not be here. Call them migrants, newcomers, illegal aliens. They are not here legally." On a more local level, Antonellis opposes the wind farms growing off the Massachusetts coastline, pointing to the recent loss of a blade that fell into the ocean off the coast of Nantucket. "We must end offshore wind farming," Antonellis said. He said the blades, chemicals, and batteries in the towers should all be removed, rendering the devices inoperable. Trump said he would ban offshore wind farms on day 1 of his presidency, Antonellis said. Candidate 2, Ian Kane. The 42-year-old Kane believes he represents the next generation of leadership, saying he stands for innovation, energy, and connection between the Massachusetts of the past and its future. A graduate of Boston College High School, he attended Boston College and earned an MBA from Duke University. Kane said he has learned the meaning of public service through as a fifth-term Quincy councilor who is now serving as council president. That's where you learn, representing your family, friends, and neighbors, and knowing what matters to them at the ground level, Kane said. Kane has been endorsed by Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, an independent, State Rep Michael Soter of Bellingham, and former Governor Jane Swift. Kane said his experience in economic development as a city councilor would inform his work as a senator representing Massachusetts and bring national partners to play on a state and local level. In his travels across the state, Kane has learned that the migrant crisis is top of mind for most voters. Kane proposes to close the borders, penalize sanctuary cities, and allow local police to work with federal immigration authorities to find and relocate those without legal standing in the United States. The candidate would also take on the Biden administration policy that allows migrants to parole in place, which allows a foreign national who is in the country without authorization to stay under certain conditions. Kane refers to the policy as unlawful parole. Kane said he would advocate for asylum reform to ensure migrants are not exploited by unscrupulous actors and require pre-employment verification to ensure job seekers are eligible for employment. At the same time, he said, we have to tackle the legal immigration process and streamline it to be more achievable, Kane said. No one is anti-migrant. Most Massachusetts residents are here through migration. Kane said the second top-of-mind issue for voters is the state's lack of affordability. While Kane said he favors abortion rights, he agrees with the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision that turned the issues over to the states. And the third candidate, John Deaton. Deaton also talks of securing the border, increasing on-site patrols, and ending the practice of catch and release that allows migrants to stay in the country while their cases progress in immigration court, which can take many years. The system, Deaton said through his spokesman James Conroy, is broken. He said it is taxing public services in Massachusetts and impinging on residents' daily lives. A newcomer to Bolton, the 57-year-old Deaton describes himself as being on a mission to lift people out of poverty, not through reliance on government programs, but through financial education and reforming accredited investor protocols that restrict who can purchase unregistered securities, such as shares in pre-IPO companies and hedge funds. This excludes 86% of Americans, Deaton said. He cited as an example the initial public offering of Apple when it launched in the 1980s. A $1,000 investment in the tech company at the time would be worth $1.5 million today. He believes every day Americans should have access to these securities and be allowed to invest in other high-yield opportunities. While he favors government supports for residents experiencing financial difficulties, Deaton says that they do not address generational poverty. Deaton would advocate breaking those barriers through financial literacy education for all. If elected, he said he would support taking Massachusetts' Universal Free School Meals program national. We would find the money for everything: Ukraine, Israel migrants, Haiti. We should be able to find the money to feed children at school, Deaton said. Deaton says he grew up in Highland Park, Michigan, a self-contained municipality in Detroit, on welfare and food stamps. My mom told me that college is not for people like us, Deaton said. He calls his mother a hero, but says he saw how poverty beat her down. Poverty is debilitating. It handcuffs people, Deaton said. He sees the answer not in tearing down the rich, but increasing access to wealth-building opportunities for all. I see the American dream dying, Deaton said, and I'm willing to work for it. I don't want to be the last person to embody the American dream, the last person to have made it. And we move to Dennis I's town-owned land on Depot Street for housing. A project to develop affordable housing on town-owned land in Dennisport has now been awarded to a developer. After a request for proposals, the Select Board chose GLF Development of Framingham as the winner. The company is also the owner and operator of The Crossings on Route 134. When completed, the 1.6-acre site will have 16 units with 25% set asideable as affordable. Construction should begin next spring, according to Dennis Housing Coordinator Maggie Spade Aguilar. The town has owned the former Village Improvement Club property at 187 Depot Street since 1974, according to the assessor's office. The land currently houses a small child care facility called South Shore Early Education. The town releases the space and the lease should be over when construction begins, said Spade Aguilar. It's also an abutting tract at 32 Mill Street, which the town has also owned since 1998. It has no building on it. In an update on another project, the Dennis Affordable Housing Trust won a grant from Mass Housing to hire a consultant to do a feasibility study at 30 Crowell Road in South Dennis. The study would focus on how much housing the land could support. The site is the former DPW storage area across from John Kelly Park. Mass Housing has chosen a consultant, and the town will finalize the agreement. Public meetings will be held to present findings and take public comment. That would allow for much-needed housing. It's a perfect location, not only being across from John Kelly Park, but it would be near Transit and Patriot Square area, where it would encourage less driving and people would be able to get their groceries, said Spade Aguilar. It's right next to Town Hall and the police station. Lots of municipal services right nearby. And we move to corduroy, brown-laced shoes, back-to-school fashions, now and then. As kids, the first day of school was always Tuesday after Labor Day. Heading back to school in the early 1960s was not a shorts and sneakers event. Mom would drag us off the playground to a clothing store to find a new pair of shoes and a back-to-school outfit. The clothing store was not a giant superstore, but one of the several locally owned retailers whose name was the store's name. There was nothing worse as a grade school boy having a female store clerk and your mother sizing you up for waist and inseam, then donning several stiff pairs of corduroys to be judged for proper fit. The shirt fittings were less formal and were just held up to you for color compatibility. The shoe store was always busy in late August. Sneakers aren't what they are today, but a splashy pair of Converse All-Stars, or Keds back then, always beckoned in the storefront. First, an odd-shaped metal sizing gizmo would gauge length and width, and a comment about how much your feet had grown over the summer. The salesperson would emerge from the back with several boxes of stiff leather shoes, most always brown. Laced up tight, it was time for a walk around an angled floor mirror. We could offer an opinion, but it wasn't binding. New outfit complete, it was time to head home. The outfit would be put away until school started. This was to keep us from spilling, ripping, or taking the polish off before the big day. Marching off to school, we lived 2 blocks away, was always done in stiff new shoes and scratchy outfit, but we were dressed to the nines. Upstate New York can be quite hot in September, but new school togs were selected to be short-lived, so long pants and long-sleeve shirts were not on any kid's list of what's comfortable to wear to reignite our school-grade education. The cycle moved from child to parent as we repeated the process with our kids in a much less formal way. Sneakers now made the cut. The kids have long since moved into adulthood, and thankfully I only have to worry about making myself presentable as I head out to photograph the first day of school every year. Looking out across the school gym at the Bourne Intermediate School on the first day, 3rd graders were lined up by classrooms, a sea of curious faces anxiously awaiting a new year in a new school. I paused to notice the outfits. I wasn't jealous of their heavy backpacks filled with supplies, no such thing back in my elementary days. But I was envious of their comfortable outfits on the 80-degree day. It was the first day, and I had a long-sleeve shirt, long pants, and a pair of brown shoes. Some habits are just hard to break. And next up, Wellfleet adds Wi-Fi to McGuire Landing. Prompted by the death of a Revere man in a 2018 shark attack, the town of Wellfleet is now providing Wi-Fi service at one of its 4 Atlantic coastline beaches, McGuire Landing at LeCount Hollow, with the other 3 beaches to follow shortly. We will have almost unbroken coverage, Stephen Kopitz, who shepherded the project, said in an August 22 interview. I think this is a huge step forward in the community, and it is a really big step toward trying to protect the public as we try to cope in this era of great white sharks. The 4 Atlantic beaches operated by the town of Wellfleet, south to north, are McGuire Landing at LeCount Hollow, White Crest Beach, Cahoon Hollow Beach, and Newcomb Hollow Beach. Wellfleet asked for state funding for the Internet project following Arthur Medici's death in 2018. The 26-year-old was on a boogie board wearing a wetsuit and fins when a shark attacked him off Newcomb Hollow Beach. Vacationing physician John Van Alst, who was among the first to reach the injured man, estimated that the rescue response took from 20 to 25 minutes. Beachgoers at the scene, trying to help Medici, reported having to run to the beach parking lot to be able to make a 911 call. In seeking the state money, the town referenced Medici's death. The project used $200,000 from the state municipal fiber grant fund program, $70,000 in town money, and what Kopitz estimates was 600 hours of his time. Coverage will soon be available at White Crest and Cahoon Hollow beaches, according to Kopitz, Vice Chair of the Town Cable Advisory and Cellular Service Advisory Committee. The committee has been working on the project since March 2022. He expects coverage to be in place at all 3 beaches around Labor Day. Bringing the service to Newcomb Hollow Beach, the northernmost beach, is still up in the air. Kopitz, who served as acting project manager, estimates the Wi-Fi coverage runs about 1,700 feet north and south of LeCounte's Beach lifeguard chair. The coverage reaches the beginning of the parking lot and reaches into the water, he said. When all service is up and running, coverage will extend more than 2 miles from south of LeCounte to north of Cahoon Hollow. Coverage at White Crest Beach could be running by early next week. Coverage at Cahoon Hollow Beach will be ready when Eversource connects the power supply. Open Cape is the internet service provider. At an August 6th Select Board meeting, Town Administrator Thomas Garino recognized Kopitz's efforts, calling it Herculean. Kopitz's attempts at putting cameras up at the 3 beaches have not been successful. He has argued that cameras would allow beachgoers to see available beach parking rather than wait in line for open spaces. He claimed it could yield an increase in beach parking revenue. The Select Board has voted against installing cameras twice. Vice Chair Mike DeVasto questioned the revenue numbers Kopitz shared at the August 6 meeting and said there was a value to cruising Ocean Drive looking for a parking spot. Suzanne Grout Thomas, Director of Community Services and in charge of beaches, said she opposes cameras at the beaches. It's the antithesis of what Wellfleet represents, she said. It's wrong for me. And now a little news about Cape Entertainment. Live stage, luxury cinemas, and nightclubs planned at Cape Cod Mall. Bill Haney, owner of Entertainment Cinemas, Theater by the Sea, and North Shore Music Theater, has announced plans to expand his empire with Bill Haney's entertainment experience at the Cape Cod Mall in Hyannis. Haney, who has lived in Brewster part-time since 1990, said he has signed a 40-year lease with Simon Properties to take over the approximately 50,000 square feet that now houses 12 Regal Cinemas. The new complex will include, he said, a live performing arts theater with up to 1,000 seats, 5 to 6 luxury movie theaters, including an IMAX theater for first-run and art house films, clubs with upholstered banquettes, think Goodfellas circa 1950s for comedy, cabaret, and jazz and blues entertainment, a sports bar, and a country music bar. I want people to say, I'll meet you at the X, where they'll have plenty of entertainment to choose from, said Haney, referring to the word experience in the venue name. Haney is not sure if he will need to close the mall's movie theaters while building the new complex, but said he hopes to keep some open while renovating others. Neither the mall's owner, Simon Property, nor Regal Cinemas answered the Cape Cod Times emails or phone calls requesting comment. If he can bring in shows year-round, I think that's great, Barnstable Town Council member Matthew Levesque said. So why build an entertainment complex in Hyannis? One of the driving forces behind the new live theater is to have another showcase for productions Haney now creates for his 500-seat Theater by the Sea in South Kingston, Rhode Island, and 1,500-seat North Shore Music Theater in Beverly. This year's session, with a slightly different lineup at each theater, included Million Dollar Quartet, Sound of Music, Tootsie, Disney's Frozen, Fiddler on the Roof, and 42nd Street. These shows don't come in on a bus. They are all produced by me, and they don't come cheap. The scenery for The Sound of Music was $80,000, Hanny said. I think all the terrific shows we do at Theater by the Sea can move around. That's been the driving factor since 2007, when I saw the show's sets going into the trash. Hanny purchased Theater by the Sea in 2007. Hanny thinks that the central location in Hyannis will attract theatergoers from Provincetown, Falmouth, and even Boston to see shows with ticket prices topping out at $98 for the best single seats, as they do at his other theaters. Hanny also anticipated that parts of the complex will be available to rent for private functions, including weddings. So how much will Bill Haney's entertainment experience cost to create? The theater owner estimates it will cost at least $4 to $5 million to renovate or rebuild the existing Hyannis movie theaters for their new uses, including turning 2 or 3 cinemas into a 2-story performing arts center. Haney said he plans to finance the project privately, as he has with his existing theaters. When will it open? The earliest we would be there working would be December. The earliest we would have anything open, like luxury cinemas, would be for next summer. It's the live theater that will take the longest, Haney said. What's needed to make the project work? Haney has experience renovating movie theaters. He owns and operates entertainment cinemas in Dennis and Falmouth Cinema Pub in Falmouth, 2 of 30 cinemas he has owned. He also recently purchased an 8-screen luxury movie theater in Portland, Maine, where he plans to eventually develop a second entertainment complex like the one in Hyannis. The good news here is we're not changing the use, Haney said, discussing the Hyannis project. It's still entertainment, and we've got parking for 2,500 seats. We're using a lot of the same bones, but we're making an amazing visual change to the complex. Really, no town approval is needed because everything he's doing is at the property right now, Levesque said. There's no zoning board of appeals, no coming before the town board, because it's all zoned for that purpose. Speaking as an observer and not a town official, Levesque said he thinks increased traffic to the new project may require additional security and parking lot lights, as increased shopping volume does at the holidays. Will the entertainment experience have food? The entertainment experience will have commercial kitchens to supply pub-style food to the theaters and clubs, Haney said, with dishes such as homemade pizzas, salads, gourmet sandwiches, burgers, nachos, and anything you want to eat at a comedy club. Theater by the Sea has an on-site bistro by the sea that feeds people before shows with a menu that includes an $18 grilled cheese with brisket, $25 spinach and basil fettuccine with roasted veggies, and a $38 beef petite filet mignon with steak fries. Will Cape Cod Mall benefit from the entertainment experience? Haney said residents near his theaters also thrive on show days, a pass-along effect he hopes will benefit restaurants in the mall in Hyannis and will attract more from pre- and post-show dining. Martha Piedmont, whose family owns Captain Frosty's in South Kingston, Rhode Island, about a mile as the crow flies from Theater by the Sea, said her restaurant is always busier on show nights. It's such a draw. It's really great for the community, she said. I think a lot of people must have subscriptions because when a new play opens, the same people come in to eat. Piedmont said the local theater was always a draw, and the restaurant felt the impact when it closed from 2005 to 2007. Haney has not only brought in professional actors and stagehands, she said, but made improvements including installing air conditioning. Bill Haney's going to do something on the Cape. I think you will be happy, Piedmont said. He's doing a fantastic job here. And continuing with entertainment, director of 39 Steps shares best way to die on stage. It might seem like the simplest thing in the world for an actor to keel over, stop moving, and die on stage. But alas, it is not. What's the best way to fall down and die, and do it safely over and over again? Because we have to care for the actors' bodies when we're doing this play 7 times a week, said Kimberly Senior, director for the 39 Steps at the Cape Playhouse in Dennis from August 28th through September 7th. Interviewed by phone during a walking lunch break in New York City last week, Senior shared thoughts on preparing for the 39 Steps and helping audiences connect with the play based on John Buchan's 1915 novel and the 1935 British spy film directed by Alfred Hitchcock. I think the most important thing is to land on, which is a comedy that always has a murder mystery in it, Senior said. It's not played as broadly as a farce, but it is at the pace of one. 4 actors play more than 150 roles. I would describe the acting as athletic, Senior said, pausing to choose the word. The actors change dialects, props. It's well written, and it's pretty clear when the actors change roles. In publicity materials for the show, Senior calls the 39 Steps the perfect intersection of Three Stooges-esque comedy, film noir, and action movie. I can't wait to share this thrilling piece with Cape audiences where hilarity and humanity exist side by side. Senior says the show's laughs come not from actors trying to be funny, but from actors trying to seriously accomplish something while a series of events thwarts their efforts. This is like the art of clowning, she said. Clowns are not trying to be funny. Clowns are trying to tie a shoe, but their circumstances get in the way. Senior said it starts out with an extremely handsome British man who invites this woman into his life, and in the morning finds she has been stabbed. He sets out to clear his name and find out what happened. Along the way, his purpose in his life, and all of us along the way, he finds purpose in his life, and all of us can identify with that. The cast includes Karim Bandili, a Chicago actor who has been in more than 70 plays nationwide as the central character Richie Hannay, Lori Vega, a veteran stage actress whose screen credits include Pretty Little Liars, FBI, and Bull, plays the 3 mysterious women with whom Hannay is romantically involved. The bulk of the 150 roles are distributed between playwright and storyteller Octavia Chavez Richmond. I was an actor for many years, for more than 20 years until 2004. For me, I'm most interested in human behavior and why people do the things we do, said Senior. And that was her approach to the 39 steps. I have a lot of compassion for actors wearing somebody else's clothes, saying somebody else's words, acting normal while an audience watches, which is not an easy thing to do. Senior so often asks the actors and herself, what would a person do? In any given situation, that she used the phrase in the book that she is publishing in this fall. I'm very much a body learner. Body shapes show meaning. When I teach, I say, I'm not better than you, not more creative, not smarter, but faster. When I see a problem, I know how to fix it. Do I have to know Alfred Hitchcock's work to enjoy the 39 steps? No, but for people who love Hitchcock, there are many Easter eggs, references to other Hitchcock films sprinkled throughout, Senior said. And what is Senior's professional background? A freelance director, Senior most recently directed Enough to Let the Light In at the Contemporary American Theater Festival in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. The 39 Steps is her 200th production, she said, but the play is new to her, so she is learning it with the actors. She has also directed the Broadway production of the 2013 Pulitzer Prize-winning Disgraced by Aid Akhtar. One last note, Senior's last name came courtesy of Ellis Island, where officials could not spell her family's Syrian surname. It's been an interesting human observation, she said, to meet other seniors with completely different ethnic backgrounds who got their last name the same way. And finally is a gallery in the works at former Wired Puppy in Provincetown. The former Wired Puppy, located at 379 Commercial Street in Provincetown, just sold for over $1 million earlier this month amid a report that a gallery will open there. SMJVD LLC bought the property for $1,025,000 from former owner Valancourt Properties Incorporated on August 1st, according to the Provincetown Assessor's Office. Sandra L. Honstrup is listed as a manager for the limited liability company, according to the Massachusetts Secretary of State's office. Hanstrup could not be reached for comment. Wired Puppy, a dog-friendly coffee shop, closed in November 2023. The 1,600-foot year-round condo is part of a mixed-use waterfront Bullring Condo Association, according to its listing, and currently houses a Kohi Coffee Summer Pop-Up. The specialty coffee company, established in Provincetown, has a permanent location on the same street, about half a mile west. Kohi is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. And that's all I have time for today. This is your reader, Tricia, saying thanks for listening.